Until March of 2009, the way of installing the Android operating system on an Openmoko FreeRunner phone was to use a USB 1.2 port via a Linux-based system. You would download 2 or 3 image files depending on whether you wanted to replace your bootloader or not. This took time, expertise, and often did not work properly. Once your Android image was on the FreeRunner, it typically operated slower, since it was residing on the MicroSD card inside the phone instead of the NAND memory that was native to the system. Thanks to the engineers at Koolu, installing Android can now be simplified, able to be performed from a Microsoft Windows machine as well as from a Mac or Linux operating system, and also greatly simplified for the average VAR or distributor. Now the entire operating system, including applications, can be pre-built and loaded onto a MicroSD card. When the card is installed into the FreeRunner, it is booted one time from the NOR boot, and the entire operating system is copied up to NAND memory, leaving a backup copy and the user's data on the MicroSD card. This will allow distributors, VARs, and others to build their systems at high speed on MicroSD cards and sell those cards to consumers pre-installed when the consumer purchases the phone. This is another example of engineers at Koolu adding value to the Android operating system on the Openmoko FreeRunner phone. The FreeRunner phone is about to boot from NOR memory. We've just chosen the NOR boot. We are going down, accessing the MicroSD card, and booting the kernel off of that, and we're starting the kernel boot. Now we are copying the images out of the MicroSD card into the NAND memory. We reboot again, and then after that we copy the rest of the operating system off of the MicroSD card and into the NAND memory. You can see the writing blocks and more blocks and more blocks. And even more blocks. All of this used to be done through the USB port, and this is obviously at a much faster pace than that could possibly be done. And then once it is copied, we reboot one more time. Now we will be running out of NAND memory. Up comes a Koolu splash screen as the system initializes and finds all of the different hardware devices. We are leaving this as real time to show you how fast this actually happens the first time the boot is done. Subsequent boots actually operate much faster because all of the initial data has been initialized for the operating system and put into the user file systems. Now you see the familiar androids. The typical boot time after the first boot, this initial boot, is typically 51 seconds. And there is the Android operating system operating on the FreeRunner phone.